limited amount of it. Instead of making maybe 100 million doses, they can make 200 million doses if they dilute it and then put a little squalene in there and a little aluminum. Now, some people think that that can cause problems. When we did the Gulf War studies and the immunizations were given to the soldiers, we found that those people who had injections with squalene used as an adjuvant had an increased risk for Gulf War syndrome, whether they were in the Gulf War or they were in the U.S. and never deployed. So it's a scary thing, but it's not enough proof to say that that's a problem.
Because it's an unnatural way of administering it, because it is made in the body. But I think what I was reading about was that when the squalene is injected, there's a possibility that it might attack the other squalene that's in the body.
Well, this is somebody's
and cause
theory.
Like maybe an autoimmune condition.
I wouldn't.
But well, I think it's good for people to just be aware of possibilities,
yes,
even if it's not proven or what have you.
Well, it's a little bit more evidence to say, why are you taking this vaccine? Is it going to do you some good or isn't it? Is it safe to take? Do you want to expose your kids to it? You want to expose your parents to it?
So that's why it's good for people to know what's in it. There's also antibiotics in it. And then there's the virus.
Yeah, right.
So the virus is you're either going to get a live virus, which is the mist, the flu mist, and that actually is contagious. You can get that from somebody that's just had that flu mist.
Well, this virus that's in there is an attenuated virus, which means it's a very weakened virus. So that if it does cause a mild case of the illness, it's very mild. But the problem is it's communicable, and it's not recommended for people who are immunocompromised. And when you've got a lot of people getting the virus through a flu mist to cause an immunization in you, you're giving a lot of people a virus that can be spread when they sneeze and they have their cold. So we're talking about trying to prevent the disease. This doesn't make a lot of sense, I think.
So if they're giving this to kids, because I see it on TV when they show giving it to kids, and there's people all lined up. It's like they're exposing everybody there.
Or how about over the 2 weeks that they might be able to spread the virus after the flu mist?
Right.
A real issue.
And then there's the dead virus that's in the injections.
Yeah, that's a lot safer from that point of view, because you're not going to get the flu from that. You can't.
But you can get side effects that are like the flu.
Right, absolutely.
I remember years ago when I was in nursing school, I had a flu shot. I'd never get another one of those. I got so sick from that shot, I thought I might not even have gotten the flu.
See, and there you were, a good nurse, trying to do what you were supposed to do, following the doctor's orders, and just take your flu shot. And you got to keep something in mind. Doctors are not scientists. Generally speaking, they're not. They are clinicians. They follow the advice of the people who create procedure that tell them what to do. You talk to a doctor on the street in general and ask them about the immunization for the swine flu, they're going to say, of course, the CDC recommends it. The government thinks it's good. The World Health Organization wants us to do it. Yes, I recommend it. Find a pediatrician that's not going to recommend immunizations. That's going to be a rare bird.
And it makes me wonder if there's a conflict of interest. I mean, they have given $1 billion to the pharmaceutical companies for this H1N1 swine flu
to make the
immunization.
To make the
vaccine.
vaccine.
So that's like our taxes.
Yeah. Supporting.
Our taxes.
That's right.
Yes. And then the other thing is that they have excused them from any liability because of what happened before in 1976.
Right.
So.
And they fast-tracked it through the FDA so they don't have to worry about getting it approved. It's like, here, it's a gift. And if it doesn't work, too bad. If it's got complications, oh, we're sorry. And if it works, we're heroes, but you wouldn't know.
So if you get sick or you die from getting this immunization, forget it. You have nothing to fall back on. You have no recourse.
Well, I would like a scientific basis for what I do.
Well, they haven't really had a chance. They've fast-tracked this right through. They haven't even had a chance to test it on us.
Right.
So it's just a gamble. And we've had a history in the past where we've gotten flu shots that were the wrong strain.
Oh, that's typical. They usually don't work. And yet, doctors are still recommending that you take it, which is kind of interesting, because that's the one setting where you think, well, we shouldn't be doing that at all.
You think we're brainwashed? I don't think you and I are brainwashed, but I think...
I know, I'm laughing because I think obviously a lot of people are brainwashed. It's certainly not the way we want to go.
Well, I feel like Big Pharma is trying to make money. They're trying to make money more than taking care of our health.
Well, that's clear. I mean, I wrote a whole book on that, A Return to Healing, okay, Radical Healthcare Reform in the Future of Medicine, that talks exactly about the bad karma of Big Pharma. They are responsible to who? They're stockholders, not you. And some of the terrible things you'll have to read in the book, because we haven't got time to go in it on this show, but you simply cannot trust what they do. Their recommendations, their research, their policies, their influence on medical research itself, their influence on medical training, their influence on Congress and the FDA. Don't get me started on that.
Well, they're making a lot of money on selling vaccines.
A lot.
And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to scare us into getting the vaccines because we're so afraid of getting the flu.
Well, who's supporting them is what concerns me. We've got our FDA supporting it. We've got people like
the CDC, the World Health Organization, Congress, they all are behind them.
Exactly.
I don't get it. There's got to be something going on that...
Well, we don't need an immunization for the common cold, which is all this is turning out to be. There are other things that we can do that we should be thinking about. There are some complementary alternative approaches. As soon as you say that word CAM or alternative, everybody freaks out thinking it can't be any good if it's complementary and alternative. Well, it can be.
But before we get to that, can we just finish this up a little bit? Because they're recommending that pregnant women get this immunization. Mm-hmm. And what do you think of that?
That's based on very poor science, okay? That was based on 288 people who died from flu. They found 15 of those women happened to have were pregnant in a third trimester, and based on that limited, skimpy, non-significant data, okay, statistically not significant data, they're coming out with a policy that says, yes, give the swine flu vaccine to women who are pregnant.
Have they done any studies to see what it might even do to their baby?
No. We know that the immunization from the flu can cause problems with babies.
This is a risk. This is a big risk.
Well, to me, it looks like this is a scam. I would say that this is a swine flu scam, same as in 1976. Are there any
benefits to weigh, you know, like to say, what are the benefits, what is the downside? We're talking a lot about the downside.
Look,
what are the benefits?
People aren't dying from the swine flu. It's that simple. And if they're not dying from the swine flu, we shouldn't be panicked. If there weren't things that we could do that were simple that could protect us against that, I'd say, well, maybe think about it.
But they keep saying that people are dying, though.
Well, a few are. But the numbers we've already gone over, they're too small. 300 deaths does not make an epidemic when you're comparing it to 2.5 million people dying from similar problems globally. It's not an epidemic. And there are things that we can do. We can do things like use big doses of vitamin D, a very effective way of blocking the body's inflammatory response to the virus. And